I just want you to know, Randy, that in the 15 years that I have gotten to know you, you have always been somebody that I have looked to of when I think of what it looks like to be Christ-like. I think of you. I think of the tenderness in which you treat everyone and the grace that you show everyone, and the way you just make people feel so incredibly special.
I just want to say thank you for being who you are, for sacrificing all you have for me in my life, for helping me get into college, for showing me my true worth and showing me that challenging my mind and opening my mind is the only real way to find my faith and continue to grow in it.
We wanted to say how much we love you and think the world of you and your family. We're so grateful for the messages of forgiveness and love and grace that you consistently preach, not just from stage during chapel and whatnot, but also over coffee with us, and how much you care for and have cared for me and for Brittany and for lots of other people at Mid-America.
I believe it was my senior year at Mid-America that you invited members of the Christian corporate worship class to help you with a couple different chapel messages. And the one that you invited me to help with was the message on doubt. And man, that has shaped and formed me so much over these years, and my posture as a pastor and my relationship with God, and the idea that we have doubts and they're not all resolved, but God still loves us and our faith is still intact. And I can't tell you how much that message has been relayed through me to the teenagers of my ministry this past 5 years, and how much of a blessing that has been. So I just wanted to say thank you for being who you are.
Hi Randy, I just wanted to take a moment and say thank you. Because each night before I go to bed, I ask myself one question. And that question is, where did you see God today? I asked this question because of you. Because before we could start class, you had us ask this question. And from that moment until now, it has continued to shape how I see those around me. It's challenged me to live more intentionally and care for those in need and those that look like they have it all together. And I just want to say thank you, because this represents one of so many conversations that you've invested your life in. And I know that I can speak for myself that God has used you to shape how I see the world and how I live intentionally, and continues to guide how I hope to live my life in order that others might see the love of God in my life.
I often think back about how you led with your servant leadership, and how you had so much wisdom to share with us students, and you definitely changed my life and made such a positive impact on me.
I think about when I first started at MNU and really had no business being your assistant in particular, but you created space for me immediately. I told you, look, I will get your coffee, I will make photocopies, I'll run your errands. I just want to spend time with you. And from the very start you said, no, that's not the way it's going to be. We're going to be partners in ministry together. We're going to be ministers on this campus, and we'll do this as a team. And you've stayed true to that the entire time. You've invited me to join you in this journey, to make hard decisions, to speak my mind, and yet you've invited me to trust you, and I have, and it has been a wonderful, wonderful journey. I can't tell you how much your vision of the kingdom of God has shaped how I see the kingdom of God.
Sometimes I really wonder what my life would be like if you had not been present in it. Think back on all the critical moments, and I can see your influence in it. I remember when I was a freshman, I wrote you a letter full of disappointment and angst about our church. You responded by inviting me into your life and becoming my mentor. You adopted me into the Innovators Club, dared me to push the envelope.
For encouraging me every time I was in a show or in a film, anything that I did. And you're beyond just a great uncle, you're a mentor, you're a father figure to me, and I couldn't be more thankful for who you are and the life you've lived, and you've showed me how to be a humble, gracious person. You are a living example of what I believe Jesus teaches us to be.
You showed me how to ask what if and to dream just a little bit bigger. You gave me hope for what it means to live a life after Christ and to love unconditionally. You've asked questions of me, in my community. And I have felt your love and support every step of the way. You and Lori have been so incredibly influential in my life. I respect, admire, love, and have so much gratitude for you. Please don't ever stop asking difficult questions and daring us to live a life after Jesus.
I was just trying to think about all that you've meant to me and everything you've done in my life. I still remember as a freshman, I was walking through the religion department, kind of lost, needing some help figuring out my class schedule and things like that. And you just kind of grabbed me because you saw I didn't know where I was going. You weren't even my advisor. And you invited me into your office, gave me a Coke, and you just sat and listened to my story. And that was the first real interaction I had with you, and that'll always stick out in my mind. Just how encouraging you always were when I was around you. And I just want to ask you, please never, ever, ever stop challenging people and causing them to ask bigger questions, because you're one of the people that helped make me fall in love with Jesus all over again.
When I was a student here my senior year, and I was learning about a lot of the injustices in the world and was pretty heartbroken about what I was learning, and you took the time to sit down with me and encourage me, and you helped give me a platform to educate the student body on issues that I found to be very important to my faith. And so I want to thank you for being my advocate and really helping me through a difficult time. It could have been really devastating just learning about all of the things that I was experiencing, and you really took the time to show me that God cares about the widows and the orphans and the least and the lost and the last of the world, and that really has set the trajectory for my life. And so I'm really grateful that you were present with me and encouraged me and really empowered me during my senior year.
You're one of the reasons I'm still a Christian. One of the reasons I'm still in the Nazarene Church is I point to you and think, well, if that guy is still in the tent, then I want to be in that tent. So you've had huge impact on my life and on my wife's life. And yeah, I mean, you're the reason we're at MNU, not just literally through jobs, but because we wanted to work in a place that you had shaped and that you had helped create and that you had that where you were. So we love you a lot.
You've been an intricate part in my development as a human and as a man and follower of Christ, and I just can't say enough about the influence you've had on myself and our family, and you have a unique way of connecting with people, and thankfully I feel like it's been somewhat passed down to myself, and I'm just grateful for your personality and the way that you love others, and I think you do it so well, and I love you a lot.
Randy, I just think about you as our chaplain when we were freshmen coming to Mid-America, and you being my freshman seminar professor, and you said once, wherever you are, be all there, and that's something that has always stuck with me.
We've laughed together, we've cried together, we've traveled the world. One of the things you've showed me is how to be broken and poured out for others. We've shared in that act of practicing communion numerous times. I want you to know that I'm in full support of you as you continue to search how to best live that out. I can't tell you how much I appreciate everything you've done.
But you have been a father to me when I haven't had one, and that means more than I could ever express to you and that you could ever know. And you've sacrificed so many things in so many ways. You've put a roof over my head when I needed one, and you've encouraged me, and you've shared your wisdom with me, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that would say that about you, and I hope that I can reflect who you are and who Christ is to whoever I meet, and one of my goals is to be like you.
My first college class ever was systematic theology. It's a course for third-year students, and it was my first day of college in my entire life. I was really scared, and I'm really happy I took the course, and that's only because I walked into Randy's office, And he told me, you know, you should take this class, it's a good teacher, and you should have this class because he's really good. And so I ended up taking all kinds of classes, and I really did have an amazing time. And the funny thing is that I came to MNU to play basketball mainly. That was my motivation. But then I ended up liking my classes so much more than just basketball, because it taught me so much and prepared me for, well, everything that came afterwards. And so that's always the fun story that I tell everyone, that I just walked in there and he told me, oh yeah, I should take this class.
Randy, you meant a lot to me during my time at MNU, not only because you gave me chances to lead, but you also helped me grow through encouraging words and challenging ones, and so I thank you for that.
I never had you as a teacher, but I think of myself as a Randy student once removed. Randy, thank you for the ways that you have invested in my husband and my friends. Your teachings, questions, and way of life has shaped and challenged our community. You have helped orient us to Jesus and to serving the world around us.
Thank you for being an incredible presence on campus at Mid-America when I was a student. Thank you for being an example of what being a Christ follower looks like. Thank you for being genuine, open, and honest with us. Thank you for being willing to ask tough questions and be real about what life is like as Christ followers. Thank you for being hospitable and opening up your home countless times to students, including myself.
The way you took care of me specifically in my master's program when you were my boss and supervisor, and I could feel, I could not just tell, but I could feel that you cared about me as a person, and that it would have all been a waste if we would have met all of our goals, if we would have had everything measurable and efficient and effective, and we just rocked the world. It would have all been lost if I wasn't doing well, and if I didn't experience joy in the journey, and if I was struggling. And I felt that very deeply from you, and in doing so, it's transformed me. And Randy, I find myself walking around the world in really subtle kinds of ways with those same kind of eyes that I felt from you, and now I'm using around my world. I think about, you know, how are the people doing around me in my work, and am I being a good roommate and a good neighbor and a good friend?
Making me feel welcome and a part of your family, and always showing me and everyone else around you love and grace. You don't know how much you mean to so many people.
Well, hello, Randall. I just want to let you know, in all seriousness, that I'm praying for you. I'm so grateful for your influence on my life, and know that you are being lifted up in prayer during these days.
Magic. One of the many things you've taught me. You've also taught me how to not get riled up when somebody says something stupid. You've taught me to take time and respond with gentleness. You've taught me how to love well when it's easy, when it's fun to celebrate someone and it feels natural. You're good at that. But more importantly, you've taught me how to love when it's hard and doesn't feel natural. And Randy, the way you live like Christ has truly been a motivation this week for me and for my team, our team, to respond with patience and with love when it doesn't feel natural, because that's what you would do. That's what you've taught us.
He is one of the most loving people that I have ever known. He is a complete example of the kind of church that I look up to.
Hi, Dr. Beckum. My encouragement for you today is that despite everything else that has happened, the message that God called you to preach to the MNU community on February 10th is being heard. Because of your words, conversations are happening. Hundreds, probably thousands of people have been exposed to this message that wouldn't have normally even heard it. And they're talking and they're exploring and they're wondering, what does it mean for us to be followers of Christ, even within a culture as war-driven and violence-obsessed as our own? So thank you for starting these conversations. Thank you for challenging our assumptions about what it means to follow Christ. And thank you for continuing to be a model of Christ-like love and humility.
You and Lori take people in, you care for people deeply, and your deeply rooted faith is evident to all of us.
Jesus was on a high point. He had a vantage point. And he could look out and he could see the disciples rowing at night, working hard, toiling. And they couldn't see him, but he could see them. And he was praying. And I know that there are times in our lives when it's really dark. But Christ is still praying for us. He has a greater vantage point than we do. He has this thing all figured out. We're praying for you. Just want you to know that. Thanks for setting a Christ example for us.
As you have sat down with students with big ideas and big dreams about how they want to change the world, and you've equipped them to do so, you've given them the structure to work within so they could do what they have been asked and called to do.
And to build clinics, and to build communities, and to challenge the world that's around us.
Just thank you so much for giving and giving and giving. You are certainly a wonderful example of Jesus to me.
Hey Randy, on Monday I asked you who was brave enough to be the prophet voice. On Tuesday, you answered the question. Thanks for leading the way.